All right, addicts, this is DJ REM live on Rock Addict Radio, and I have Zay La Thu on the line. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How's it going?
I am doing very well. Why don't you go ahead and start by introducing yourself and let the listeners know what Zay La Thu is all about?
Well, Zay La Thu is basically a one-man band recording project, but I do currently have a vocalist, Katira. She's doing vocals on that second song, Into the Void Beyond the Sun. But it started out as a one-man project. The name's changed numerous times throughout the years, going all the way back to maybe like 95. But back then, like right after 95, the stuff was much more death metal and black metal. All the stuff that I'm currently doing now is more of a mixture of all kinds of stuff mixed together. But it's all ritualistic. Each song has a direct intent. With Sid Magic, I'm trying to invoke specific things to manifest in the world. So I'm hoping that it will actually do what I'm invoking. So.
Very cool. And before I get too much farther, I want to, thank you for coming to Rock Addict Radio in the first place as a listener and tuning in. We greatly appreciate that support. And then, obviously, thank you for sending the music to me so we could hear it. And just so you know, all the DJs have your stuff, and I know that a bunch of them have already been playing it on their shows as well. So we're getting you out there, man.
That's awesome. It's great that someone out there likes the music. I'm shocked. I mean, when I made this stuff, I didn't even know if I was going to send it anywhere because I've been recording stuff like this for years, and half the time I never send anything anywhere. It usually just sits in recorders or sits on my shelf, and people don't hear it. So it's nice to know that someone's getting it, someone likes it. I'm glad I sent it to you.
Very cool, man. And I am very curious to know what got you into the whole ritualistic, that whole vibe of the music.
Oh, well, that goes back to, I guess, around 94, when that was about 20 years ago, right? What year is it now, 2013?
Yep.
So, yeah, about 20 years ago. I moved to Atlanta, and I got really involved in the occult in general, just magic, meditation, metaphysics, all of that type of stuff. And actually, at that time period, I guess around 94, although I'd been listening to death metal massively from like late 80s up till 94 and black metal and stuff like that, when I moved to Atlanta, they had an extremely large multicultural, just counterculture there. So you hear people playing sitars and hear like drum circles with djembes, ashikos, different types of music used in ritual, the didgeridoos, yakatis, different types of frame drums used to put yourself into a trance. And all of that type of music really appealed to me, droning instruments, doing mantras, chants, putting yourself into a trance and then changing your consciousness through that state. And that's what originally got me into that stuff.
Very cool. And don't let me forget, I have a band I think you really enjoy. I won't mention them their name until I play it for you, but they're a Middle Eastern band, and they start with that Middle Eastern sound, and then they go into this killer death metal. I think you'll love it. So it's good to know that you're into that kind of different kind of stuff. And that's why I really appreciate your music, because when I first heard your music, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I have anything, and I have a lot of music on my computer. I'm like, I don't think I have any music on my computer that sounds like this, which was amazing to me.
Well, I'm really glad it sounds original. I really try to just do whatever I want to do, and I'm not trying to really appeal to anything, this or that. The only intent I do have is I'm trying to maintain a very ritualistic stance with everything, whether I'm trying to invoke something specific into reality or if I'm just offering praise to Babylon. So.
Okay, very cool. So what, I guess not what, how long have you been doing this? I mean, in thinking about that, when you started, I guess what got you going in the beginning?
Just with music or with the occult magic or what?
Just with your music that you do.
Oh, okay. Well, I started playing guitar, I guess, when I was 12. That may have been around 86 or 87, I guess. I heard Slayer, Rain and Blood, Master of Puppets, all that speed metal thrash stuff was popular when I was a kid. So that was the first stuff I ever played. That was the first stuff fell in love with. And when I was a teenager, it was right there at the end of the 80s when the 90s were first rolling in. So I bought Altars of Madness when it came out, and, you know, that was like God. And when Deicide came out, I was like, okay, there's God again. And Unleashed, Entombed, all of the old death metal stuff from the early 90s. That had a tremendous influence on me. And then in 91, I was in a death metal band called Butchery, and that's what really, that solidified what I was doing altogether. We put out several demos, I guess in 1991, and it's possible if there's people listening here, or if any of the people listening, or maybe you yourself have any of the old zines from back then. We were in a lot of zines back then, but we were just brutal death metal, you know, like Suffocation, Cannibal Corpse, that type of stuff. I guess that was right before, I guess in 92 is when death metal boom kind of exploded, and you had like a billion bands right at that time period. So we ended up breaking up, and then I moved to Atlanta, and that's when I got all into the occult.
Okay, very cool. So one of the listeners in the chat asked a question. I already know the answer, but I'm going to let you know anyways. They want to know, you know, if you're on Facebook, and I know that we've talked about this and you're not, but what do you have any plans? Have you been thinking about getting yourself on Facebook to get out to more people?
As much as I'd like for more people to hear the music, I don't want to get a Facebook page. I don't want to have any kind of, you know, website attachment where people know what I'm thinking at this particular moment, or know what I'm reading at this moment, or know what I'm eating. I don't want to be spied on. And that program, Facebook, it was designed just to spy on people. I mean, people are carrying their little stupid phones around, and they're being tracked, they're being monitored massively with that shit. So I'm never going to have one of those pages. Sorry, but if anyone wants my music, they can download it for free at the website, the Zayla 2 website, and I won't spy on you. So.
Well, that's awesome. We're glad to know that we're not being spied on by Zaylathu. And just in case you guys didn't catch that, that is www.zalathu.com, Zaylathu.com. So go there, check it out. He has a killer page, and it was just recently updated. And by the way, your web guy did a great job.
Yeah. That looks really good. My cousin threw that together for me. She's awesome. She just put all that stuff together for me for free.
Well, tell her that everybody at the station said props to her.
Thanks. I'll tell her.
For sure. So, have you had to has this been tough to keep doing your music? I mean, it kind of sounds like it's kind of a passion, so it may be not so tough, but I mean, have you had to make any sacrifices or anything in your life to keep doing this?
Not really, but I live in a place that it's very oppressive to do this at all. I mean, there's no musicians here. And Alabama is 100% redneck as could be. Nobody listens to hard rock, much less death metal or black metal, or even like the stuff I'm doing now. I wouldn't even consider death metal or black metal. But even that wouldn't be popular here at all. And you don't see people here that are into anything like this. So that makes it difficult to do it regularly, because it's cool to talk to people that, you know, are interested in the same stuff as you, or might say, oh, that's a cool song you're working on there. I mean, there's no one to really talk to about it.
Gotcha. Well, and that's the beauty of the internet, because you can get out to so many people. I mean, with your website, I mean, as long as people know about your website, and I guess before this interview started, I was posting the link to your website like all over the place, so hopefully it'll draw some people.
That's great. And I hope people like it. And if they want to hear more brutal stuff, then the stuff I'm currently doing, there's older stuff on the site that's much more brutal than the stuff I do now, and there's other stuff that's much more melodic as well.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because after the interview, for all of you those out there listening, you're going to get to hear a bunch of it, because I have it all now, and yeah, it's going to be like an hour straight of different styles and different music and different recordings from Zaylathu, so I'm actually looking really forward to playing it all.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, so how did you come up with the name for the band? Where does Zaylathu come from?
Okay, well, as you know, like, I've changed the band name numerous times throughout the years. That name I always wanted to use all the way back in '94. When I first moved to Atlanta, one of the big changes that happened to me was I had met this girl there who was a trance channeler. And from being around her, it altered my chakras to where I started experiencing psychic phenomena all the time, seeing people glowing and shit, seeing energy fly off people. And in any case, one time she was in a trance and she was doing like these past life channeling trances. And when she was, I don't know what she was connecting to, some form of entity or something. But when she was doing it, she said to me that I had a spirit entity around me that was a serpentine entity from Babylon, and its name was Zelatu. So that's where the name comes from.
I'm going to tell you right now, that is the best and most powerful story I've ever heard for a name of a band.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. And also, like, no one has that name, so I don't have to worry about someone stealing that.
This is true. Nobody else has that connection, that's for sure, as well. That's awesome. Okay, so we've mentioned the band, the website. So once again, usually right now I ask, where's the best place for people to find out about the band, which we've already discussed this. So just one more time, zelathu.com, everybody. Okay, so tell me, I guess, what's your recording process? So have you done this all on your own? Have you used a studio? What's your method?
Okay, everything that's been done, even going all the way back to 95, has been recorded on my own. I haven't used any computers with anything. I've used standalone portable recording units, from 4-track recorders all the way up to 24-track recorders. The first song on this new demo, or the latest one, the opening of the portal, that track, I recorded it on an 8-track Tascam. It's a really cheap recorder. People can buy them from like Musician's Friend for like say like $179 or something. Just 8 tracks, that's it. I used the DR770 drum machine where I notated all of what the drums would be based off the guitar rhythms, programmed all of those into a DR770, and then I played all the guitar tracks, I played all the bass tracks, the lead tracks, and then all the synth tracks that people were hearing, those are actually guitars too. I've got a guitar synth and I just play all of those parts as well. And then originally I didn't know if I wanted to do vocals anymore. I'd done vocals on a lot of the old stuff, and in that first track, those are samples actually of Israel Regardie. He was the secretary to Aleister Crowley when Crowley was alive. He was also a magician, and he published a lot of Golden Dawn books. But before he died, he had recorded a lot of invocations, mainly for Golden Dawn members and stuff, so they would know how to pronounce Enochian words properly, like let's see, Zodakar Eka, Zodakar, Oda, all these words. Because the pronunciation, a lot of people would be like, well, how are we pronouncing these words? How do we do the words of power? So, in any case, I chopped up those words of his for the invocation in the first song. But on the second song, I met this girl named Katira, and I thought she was awesome, and she's doing the invocations in the second song. And she's going to be doing vocals in most of the new stuff.
Very cool. What kind of timeline do you have on the new stuff?
Honestly, we should be done with 3 more songs very soon here. We've already recorded the first one. We've recorded all the music for the next 2 tracks. Just haven't recorded any of the vocal tracks yet. But it's really simplistic stuff I'm doing with the recording. I mean, okay, like I said, on that first song I used an 8-track recorder. On song 2 and 3 I used a 24-track recorder. And I record all the parts myself. And I'm not cheating. I'm not actually playing a riff one time and then just dragging it like people do on computers now. No one even plays their music when they record anymore. I'm actually playing the stuff all the way through.
Well, that's awesome. I'm going to say it again. It sounds really good. I mean, you definitely have a talent there, and I'm glad you're using it because it sounds amazing.
I think I get lucky sometimes.
Well, you always got to get lucky sometimes.
Yeah. It can be difficult on some of the new stuff that should be done soon. I used some sitars on it, and that was really, really hard to record the sitars because I don't have a fancy studio. I have a few okay microphones, and it was really hard to microphone the sitars and mix it in with the guitars on some of these upcoming tracks. So it'll be interesting to hear.
That's very cool. How did you learn, or how long have you played the sitar? I mean, how did you learn to play that?
I ordered one from this guy who can get them from India, and I got a book and just figured it out on my own pretty much.
Well, that's cool.
Way back in, I guess around '94, I was modifying all my acoustic guitars into alternate tunings, and I would actually string the nut end to where the strings would touch each other to create an extra vibration. Because I was trying to emulate a sitar for years with acoustic instruments until I finally had enough money to buy an actual sitar. But I find it really, really hard to mix it. I'm sure it would be easy if I had a professional studio and all that, to mix it in next to metal guitars, like when you have all these guitars going and then you're trying to actually mix sitar in. They both kind of share the same frequency bandwidth, and it's hard to EQ it in. At least for me, I'm not a professional when it comes to mixing music. So.
Okay, well, very cool, man. That's nice. What So here's a question, just kind of personal for you, not too personal though. What if I grabbed your iPod or your MP3 player, however you do listen to music, what bands would I find you listening to right now?
Right now, well, I can tell you this: I still buy CDs.
Very good.
I do have an MP3 player, but the last thing I bought was the Rosenberg Trio. It's a jazz band that plays the type of stuff that Django Reinhardt played back in the 30s. I don't know if you're familiar with that type of music, but it's really badass, really complex gypsy jazz from the 30s.
Okay, very good.
So but if you grabbed my MP3 player, you would find there's this black metal band from Germany called Dornenreich. Got that on there. Also have the new Britney Spears. That's pretty awesome. And what else? I just bought a new bluegrass CD last week. Peter Rowan bluegrass CD. Pretty good. Even has some Buddhist mantras towards the end of it. It's pretty badass.
Cool. So you have a very eclectic taste in music, which I totally appreciate. So that's cool.
Yeah, I do. I like a lot of different stuff. I mean, I did grow up on, extreme metal. That really is my favorite stuff. At the end of the day, I mean, if I have to grab something off the shelf, it's old school death metal stuff more than anything. Some of my favorite obscure bands would be like Pandemonium from Sweden, Oblivion from Canada. I don't know if you ever heard Phantasm from Milwaukee.
Yep.
Fucking great underground old school bands. But I like a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, I personally, I like to throw some oddball stuff in there once in a while. It just kind of keeps everything fresh for me, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, you listen to death metal every day. This stuff all sounds the same after a while, and that's why black metal is so fucking awesome, because then you can listen to black metal.
Exactly.
Or listen to power metal. There's so many subgenres these days, pretty good.
Yeah, I don't even like to get stuck into, when people ask me, well, what genre of music do you like? I'm like, I listen to so many different kinds, I can't answer that question.
Yeah, it makes it difficult to answer the question, because, like I said, all week, honestly, I bought that Peter Rowan CD last week. It's bluegrass, and that's what I was listening to most of the week. And last week I was listening to a lot of Django jazz. So
you'll have to, when we're offline, you have to send me a couple of links to some of that stuff, because I'm not familiar with that style or those bands, so I wouldn't mind just checking it out to see.
Oh, sure, I'd be happy to. It's great stuff.
Okay, so what do you feel, this is your chance to sell yourself, what do you feel sets your music apart from all the other artists and stuff out there that, to make people want, come to the station and listen to you guys?
Well, I can tell you this. When we're doing invocations, it's very serious. We're real. We really do want to manifest specific things into the physical world. It's not a joke. It's not, ooh, these are fun, mystical lyrics. I really mean this shit. I mean, so if that means anything, you're getting a real invocation. You're not getting, some plastic bullshit.
Nothing better than truly believing in what you're doing. It manifests itself into something very real, and I think fans of music or any kind of art or whatever it is, will get that and be like, you know what, this guy is for real.
Well, that's why I think fans should always just do what they want to do instead of doing what, someone's telling them to do or whatever. I mean, because that's what'll make you successful, just being honest to begin with.
Exactly.
That's why Metallica has been faggots for so long. I mean, shit, I listened to them when I was 11 and 12 before they became fags, and They were awesome, and then they broke my heart as a small child.
Yeah, pretty much for me the Black Album was the downfall of my.
Yeah, I remember throwing it out the window when it came out.
Yeah, my favorite album of theirs, well, I really like Ride the Lightning, but Master of Puppets is by far my favorite album.
Yeah, I would say Puppets is their best, without a doubt. Lightning and Kill 'Em All Is God, don't get me wrong, those are great albums, but Puppets was like their pinnacle. It was the perfect album from them. And then after that, Justice is okay, but it's not Puppets. And then after that, they just completely went to shit.
Well, yeah, I mean...
And lost their integrity completely. I mean, the Slayer never became faggots. I mean, and, years went by and they continued to be cool, so...
Yeah, well, some bands stick true to their roots and some bands sell out pretty much,
Yeah, pretty much. And don't get me wrong, that's the funny thing. I mean, I like the new Britney Spears, but because she's being Britney Spears, Metallica, they clearly just changed just for money. It was obvious.
Yep, yeah. We could talk about that all day and totally agree.
Yeah.
So, I know you're not doing anything live or anything right now, but back when you did live shows and stuff, what was your the craziest thing that ever happened to you when you did a live show?
Well, I haven't been able to do that with any of the solo stuff or just one-man band stuff, but the last time that I did play a show was when I was in that death metal band Butchery, and the most insane thing I ever saw was some kid was there to see us play, and he had our shirt on, and he takes off for the mosh pit, and we haven't gone on yet. The opening band's playing, and he runs out there and trips, flies through the air, and his head just smashes open on our singer's boot.
Oh, jeez.
So they take him out in a stretcher, and he never got to see us play.
That's unfortunate and very metal all at the same time.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to tell the listeners about Zaylathu? Anything I haven't asked you that you want to make sure people know?
I have no idea what to say. I'm sorry.
Hey, that means I did my job very well.
Yeah, I really appreciate you talking to me about the music. I'm excited that people like it. So.
Yeah, everybody that we've been playing it for has had nothing but good things and great things to say, and we, like I said, we will continue to play it. It's in the 24/7 stream, and the DJs are all playing. So, and when we end this interview here in a few minutes, I got a whole bunch of your tracks that are lined up and ready to go. We're gonna Zaylathu and your old school stuff all night long.
Well, I tell you, I really, really appreciate it, because when I hear people say that they do like it and stuff like that, it gives me a lot of incentive to, finish off a lot of the projects I've done. I've got stuff that hasn't even been mixed down from 6 years ago. I mean, so it gives me incentive to get it done because someone would like to hear it.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now, and I'm going to speak for a bunch of other DJs. We all want to hear it, and I know. For myself, I cannot wait to hear the new stuff you're working on, because there's no doubt in my mind it's going to be killer. So,
well, the new stuff's pretty weird. I mean, it's genre hopping all over the place. So.
Well, all of us at Rock Addict Radio are pretty weird, so that's all good.
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay, one last thing to ask before I let you go. I would love a couple of radio tags made.
Okay.
So the first one, I just need you to say, this is Zaylathu, and you're listening to RockAddictRadio.com.
This is Zaylathu, and you're listening to RockAddictRadio.com.
Perfect. And the second one, because I got to have one for my show, you do the same thing, but just throw in there that you're listening to DJ REM at Rock Addict Radio.
Okay. This is Zaylathu, and you're listening to DJ REM on RockAddictRadio.com.
Awesome, man. And the fact that you pulled out those both off perfect on air is even more amazing.
Okay.
Very cool. Okay, and just one last thing for the listeners. We're going to be cutting here to the music very shortly, but I just want everybody to know that a bunch of these tracks that I'm going to be playing from Mr. Zaylathu, they've never been played on the radio before, so you're getting exclusive first time you'll get to hear these right here on RockAddictRadio.com.